If you do any reading about organizational change management, you'll see a lot of doom and gloom about failed organizational change efforts. But nobody really talks about what was done or not done to try to make that organizational change a success and why it failed. A lot of times you'll see articles that talk about lack of stakeholdering. They didn't do the proper stakeholdering analysis. And it sounds very magical and theoretical, but there's not a lot of great ideas on how to make sure you're reaching the right stakeholders and influencing the right people. And that's where it gets tricky. ProSci has a method called ADKAR: awareness, desire, ability, knowledge, and reinforcement that gives organizational change management practitioners tools to help them move forward and do the right methods for organizational change. They have a great toolbox. They have stakeholder analysis tools that you can use. But a lot of times I've seen organizational change practitioners get stuck with these tools and really not know how to take it forward to the next level. So let's say you have one of these tools and you're doing a stakeholder impact analysis or a RACI or other types of tools like that to really understand who the stakeholders are that will get impacted with this change and who really needs to adopt the change and move forward with it. So you've got your tool, you've filled it out, now what? Well, you can take this fancy tool and you can do PowerPoints and you can do newsletter articles and all kinds of stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you could still fail to reach your real stakeholders because often this stakeholder tool doesn't tell you who your real organizational influencers are. And you need to look deep to do that. You need to ask questions and not just look at an organizational chart to get these things filled out. So as you're doing that, you need to ask yourself, who uses this technology or who uses this process or procedure or whatever else it is that you need to change? Who actually uses it? Not who wrote it, not who manages over it, not who enforces it, but who uses it every day. Is it an administrative assistant or an executive assistant or a project assistant? Is it an analyst or folks in the trenches who do the day-to-day operational work? If it's them, those are the people you need to reach. Oftentimes that can get overwhelming if you have thousands of those to reach. So you need to start with setting up influencer groups in order to reach the wider audience that you need to reach. Sometimes those groups have a bunch of different levels. They can be advisory or steering groups that are way up at the top, and that often consists of key leadership people who help move that information down. Managers, directors, vice presidents, CEO. It really depends on the scope of your project and what you're doing. But then you're going to have another level below that. You're going to have a level of people that truly can influence the organization because they're the ones getting asked the questions every day. They're getting asked, how do I set this device up? How do I do this fancy feature in this new technology? Or even just they'll be the people that others complain to about the new technology process, tool, whatever it is that needs to change and have people change with it. So find out who those people are and then create a group of champions at that level. It could be a group called the genius users or the power users or the we have to use this users or whatever they want to call themselves, but it's really a group of people that are invested in learning about this change, whatever it is, and getting ahead of that learning curve and then being champions for that change throughout the organization. Perhaps the go-to people that other people can go to and ask questions about this change. Those are the real influencers in your organization. Other people you want to watch out for and enlist to get in your camp include self-appointed subject matter experts. They may not be official self-appointed. They might just have appointed themselves. And oftentimes you'll find these people on pseudo technology support or official technology support teams. The person in the office who just happens to be a little bit better at technology than everybody else. They could be anywhere, and you need to start asking around. Another way you can go is look at community of practices to find those people. Your organization may have a community of practice formal or informal, of like-minded technologists or analysts or techno interested people that get together on a regular basis just to talk about technology. And it's okay, remember, it's okay that some of these people aren't going to feel enthused or excited about this change immediately. That's okay. It's really reaching them a little bit at a time, letting them feel their feelings about the change, accepting their feedback about the change, honestly accepting it, and telling them what you can and can't do about the feedback, and then helping move forward with a plan to move forward together to be successful with implementing this change. As you're building your influencer groups, don't forget about your help desk folks. The support desk, service center, whatever your area happens to call them, the people that answer the phones, handle the tickets for technology. You do not want them to be surprised when you roll out a new technology and they don't know anything about it. So include them as a key area in your influencer group and talk to them early and often about what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and what your plan is. They'll have great feedback for you in order to implement your technology. They may tell you that Fridays or Mondays are bad, or the best day to do it is on a Wednesday. They may also tell you problems that they've encountered in the past with other similar types of technologies and the types of questions the users might have. So they're going to be great partners with you if you make sure to include them as part of your influencer group. So finally, now that you've identified all your influencers, the one last thing that you have to remember is don't ever assume that your message is getting disseminated across the organization as you had planned in your nice little plan. Always check in with the real users. Check in with those folks in the trenches who need to adopt this change and make sure it's going okay. Make sure that they're prepared.